Hi, everyone. My name is Kate Shelest. I'm CEO and co-founder of Katico, where we help companies to select, implement, and improve help desk and knowledge-based software. And today, in my very first episode of Fix This Flow, I have Marty Kausas, CEO and co-founder of Pylon, the AI native support platform for B2B companies. How are you, Marty?
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Very excited to be here. And yeah, I'm excited that we can participate in the first episode. I think it's going to be a fun topic. And so, yeah, excited to show a demo. And I don't get to demo Pylon every day now, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, likewise, very excited. And I'm your big fan, one of your 45,000 followers on LinkedIn. I absolutely adore the way you present the company and yourself as a leader. Transparent, very detailed, and honest in showing the audience what your journey looks like. You don't see that often, so that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I think being the building and public part of the company is very fun. A lot of people love it, so I'm happy that we get to do it.
Great, great. And of course, every meeting should have an icebreaker, and I have one for you.
Okay.
Big fan of music, I am. So I wonder if you listen to music. What was the last gig or concert you've been to? Do you remember?
Yes, I do actually. It was probably a year and a half ago. I went to this artist called The Hold Up. They're not very well known, but they're kind of this like reggae pop group, and they came to San Francisco, and it was kind of they had broken up the band, then got back together, and so I saw them in SF.
Oh, nice. We definitely should share not only insights about operations and help desk, we need to share music too and make a Spotify list for every episode. So if there is anybody joining already, send us in comments your bands that you've seen recently. And while you're doing that, I will share mine. I actually went. I go often, like too often. We joke with my friends that like I'm one of those who spends all my budget on concerts. So the last one was on Halloween. I saw Finnish gothic band 69 Eyes, very old one, and it was so much fun. Didn't know that gothic bands are fun, but they are. They so adorable. But yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. Not very active audience for now. But yeah, those who could not join us right now, they definitely can watch it later on LinkedIn and YouTube. We're streaming there too. It was also a backup plan in case LinkedIn doesn't work for some reason. So, okay, we have Jason actually commenting Sleep Token. Do you know this British band, by the way, Marty? Sleep
Which
Token.
one?
Sleep Token
No, I don't.
very popular. They had a North American tour also. Everybody are getting crazy about them. They are a mix of Deftones, so sort of music, metalcore, and also R&B, like very sensual texts, but very like high quality and heavy sound somewhere unexpectedly. So, and I'm so happy to see that we have rock music fans here. But yeah, definitely will make a playlist now. You see, it's happening.
There we go.
Okay, sorry, got too excited about gigs. I have 5 more to go this year, so um, should we or should we not go straight to the business case?
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Ooh, but actually, you know what I didn't do? I didn't say what the topic is. And it's about knowledge management. So when knowledge exists in the company, but people hesitate to use it, don't trust it. So before we jump to the business case, I have a question for you, Marty.
Okay.
Um, when potential customers reach out to Pylon, what kind of challenges in knowledge management they address? Like they say, okay, we need help with this kind of stuff. So what's
Hmm.
most common?
There are honestly a lot of challenges. Maybe one of the most common is not knowing what articles they need to be investing into. And so one of like
Hmm.
the very common flows is, hey, you get a bunch of support questions, and then technically you would want to write articles about the most common questions so that next time customers can self-serve them. The problem is it takes a long time to be able to actually figure out what articles you need to write in the first place. And then writing them, of course, is the next biggest thing. So, step one is what to write. Step two is, actually writing something, which takes time. You need a lot of context. You might need to ping out other people, look at past tickets. And so there's a lot of work involved with those stages. And then even approval flows, if you have multiple languages for translation, it can be a mess. But I'd say maybe like the core pain point that people end up coming to us with is they know they need to do knowledge management, but they don't have capacity to invest into it. So like all their resources are focused on answering current questions. They're always,
Hmm.
underwater on that front, but they actually don't have people and resources to invest into building out a help center that can support customers in a more self-service way.
Uh-huh. So you mean like capacity in human hours, not
Yeah.
only in actual money. Well,
Yeah.
time is money, technically. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So effectively, no one has the time. So they all know that they should be investing into it, but they don't have the capacity to.
yeah, yeah, totally. That's very interesting because you work in B2B, and it's the same problem we face when working with B2E projects where employee is the customer of the company. We
Mhm.
have mostly those kind of projects, same thing. So subject matter experts usually are so busy with doing the actual work, and when they imagine they need to write a content, they were just like, oh my God, this will take forever. And we did a poll the other day, how much time does it take you to
Mm.
write the knowledge? And it's really like one article, it's like at least like 4 6 hours. That's a lot of
Mm.
time. So thank you for sharing, and let's not keep the people waiting and go to the business case. So, just to remind the audience, we have the form on the website that you can fill out and submit your business case that we can review in the future episodes. This time, we had a really like a jam because very detailed, a lot of information. So, it's from procurement software vendor company that works with enterprise decided to remain anonymous, but they have around 5,000 tickets a month, 25 people who are agents. They have agent seats, and they usually use email and live chat. So the issue, they have more than 200 articles, but agents don't use them. The search issue here, that when they try to find something, there are so many options that the system gives them and everything looks the same, so they give up and they just go and ask someone what to do. And yeah, sorry, got distracted to comments. And yeah, so they also don't have a dedicated people who work on content. Actually, I'm not sure if many companies are familiar with like dedicated role for that. Usually it's everybody does everything. So here's the same case. Whoever has time, they just produce articles. And also they have several languages. Something that you mentioned, Marty, previously. When there are a lot of languages involved, it's really hard. And yeah, so it looks like there is a mess. So it's not like centralized. Some articles have other languages. this case German, French, Spanish, and some articles don't. So it's not clear what is correct, what's not. So they just don't trust the translations and use only English version. And as needs, there are 4 clear points. They need to stop answering some questions, make search, show the exact article that will help the agent, keep non-English articles synchronized with the English version, and also, well, give someone ownership, which is very noble. Not all companies want to do that, but anyway, in this case, they want to give someone ownership of this process. That's the case.
Perfect.
What do you think about that? Any first thoughts so far?
Yeah, so I think all of them are actually these days very solvable problems. And so the first off, I think it's funny that the agents wouldn't be using the knowledge base. It means that probably the knowledge base is not trusted. It's maybe out of date. So it's actually not answering the questions they need. It could also be that it's not very integrated into whatever tool they're using. So for example, if they have to leave the actual ticketing system to go to a separate knowledge base to search, maybe that's just maybe that ends up being not like a fluid flow for the actual support team. So ideally, really where my thought goes is, so first off, I would try to debug why they're not using it. And so I would first like take some sample questions that I would expect the knowledge base to have, and just manually go search for the answers and see if we find something. If not, then hey, maybe actually the content is very out of date, or we just don't have the relevant article. So we wrote a lot of stuff, but it's actually not related to what people ask. And so I think I debug that, and then I'd also try to figure out if there's a way we can integrate the knowledge base more deeply into our actual flow, our ticketing flow. And so is there like a suggested article flow that we could have where, hey, when I'm looking at a question, I could see something get suggested. So I think there are a lot of things there. And then also the specific problem on the search, if you're like searching for, searching for something, you get multiple articles that are similar. I think that is something we can solve as well with making sure our knowledge bases follows a consistent standard for the titles and actual content. And so I think all of those are actually quite solvable problems these days.
True. I totally agree. And actually, it was just a pleasure to listen to all the process-related comments that you had. Because I agree, we need to get to the core of the problem, why agents don't use the knowledge. And at the same time, we need to just dive into analytics, collect the data, what they're trying to search actually. But also at the same time, I'm thinking about the tools, because not all tools can provide you with good search.
Yes.
We've been using so many help desks that have a knowledge base integrated. Actually, I don't think I've ever had a chance to work with a project where they had the separate knowledge base. We always made them make the right choice and just have it integrated, because it's such it just takes a lot of energy. And I understand agents who cannot just they give up. I've been an agent myself at some point, so I'm like, oh no, I just cannot do this. So definitely would be interesting to see how if there is anything like tech-wise in the search that could help. Because really, okay, so the issue, there are several similar articles that have sort of like same information but with little differences. How does the support agent know which one is correct?
Yeah, so in that case, really these days, I would almost trust AI to suggest the right article, as cheesy as that sounds. And then also when you're actually querying whatever knowledge base, ideally they have some sort of AI search, more ChatGPT style, where you're actually going to be able to get a synthesis of multiple articles. So you actually don't have to go find the specific one. That's, I think, the ideal case. And part of that has to do with the articles themselves being structured properly. So there is like a part, there's like a nuance here of, hey, you need to create the articles with the right types of titles and right structure and format. So we can definitely walk through some of how I would personally try to do that. But yeah, I think
Definitely
that's
we
a
should.
solvable problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was about to ask, but how will, so if there are several similar articles, how will AI know which one is correct? Because there
Mm,
can be simply wrong information. Is this only the issue can be solved just by human following the proper process, or
mm.
AI can somehow figure out, have better judgment? I don't know.
I think it really depends. So first off, I think the reason humans should be trusted is because they hopefully have the most up-to-date information or like know where to find it. And so I think that is really important. Knowledge-based articles, especially if you don't have a well-managed knowledge base, which is most people, it might have outdated data or data that is you may have to like go a step further to actually understand whether it's the going to provide the correct answer to the customer. So I think that, yeah, I would still default. I personally am much more, especially for our B2B customers, more on the like side of, hey, AI assistants or co-pilots can help people answer questions better, especially when the stakes are high for B2B. And so I would still want a human in the loop to make sure that questions are being answered correctly and properly. And just try to guide them to, hey, here are resources that might be correct, or like a set of resources that you may want to take a look at. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then also I'll say like there's the other half of the problem statement there, which was the language and translation. That is also like the other part that's so easily solvable at this point with AI, where hey, write an article in one language, and then we'll just auto translate to 5 more if we want. And so that.
I was about to ask about it because in my old good days when I was first time head of support, we had to do it manually. I remember we had the website with 7 languages where I managed translators. I prepared the English version. I even like worked with XML file
Mm,
to
mm,
transfer to developers. It was that
mm,
long time ago. But I believe that now you can just have it integrated in help desk or use some plugin to do it translation
mm,
automatically and just not bother at all about this
mm.
kind of stuff.
Yep.
Does, do even people do it manually still, or
I hope not. They probably just plug it into ChatGPT. It would be my guess. Some people, of course, it depends. I think on how nuanced. Like some people have more technical products that use specific, like the wording and the verbiage matters a lot for the industry, and so I think sometimes they take more care there. And so they do still have people, but I think that is a dying industry of having like an army of translators and instead just having some sort of AI solution for that.
yeah, I really hope so. Definitely translators can have some other stuff to do, but in this case, with especially with knowledge bases, no matter
Yep.
it's B2B, B2E, sorry, um, everything changes so fast nowadays. You just need to update this article yesterday, so
Yep.
just even managing the process of creating the task for all the translators and actually have it like right now when I need it, it's just very expensive.
Yep.
So I really do hope companies will start using AI, trusting AI, but of course have proper sources to choose the best option for them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
with translation, it's great. And the process. So you mentioned that AI can do a lot of work in knowledge management and also like suggesting the actual answers to agents. But again, it's all based on all the knowledge that exists. And if everybody are responsible, I think nobody is responsible for knowledge
Mm,
management. So what is your take on this? I know that you like the KCS methodology as such,
mhm.
like it has great foundation. So maybe you could share your thoughts on that, how it can be managed. If we say that subject matter experts are actually participating in creating all the content the way it should be.
Mm. Yeah, I think that so the ideal case is, of course, you have some sort of knowledge manager, but realistically, most people don't have the resources to have someone dedicated. Now, if you
Yeah.
don't have someone dedicated, then what you do is, or my suggestion would be, take a time every week, like it could be Friday with an hour where like half of your team just sits down and they're like, okay, we're going to write content. And so you're going to comb through. And if you don't have some sort of AI powered solution, you do it the old fashioned way where you say, okay, we're going to look through tickets, be like, these ones seem like common questions, and then let's like make a list and then write articles for them. So that is like the old fashioned way of doing it. Or you could follow a more advanced KCS methodology where throughout the week, as you get questions, you can just have a custom field in your ticketing system that says, hey, like we need an article for this. And then later you just go look at that list every time that you had marked it for the week. And then you write articles for those questions. So that would be kind of that upgraded version, more KCS style. And then finally, there's now the AI style where, hey, you show up on Friday for this, let's say 30-minute hour meeting, and there's already a list of all the common questions that you get auto-grouped, auto-clustered for you. So, hey, you have a list of questions already pre-written out. And then instead of having to write it from scratch, you can just click a button that says generate an article for me and auto-translate it. And so that is someone still, I think, should be in the loop, but the process, it gets way, way faster and smoother and more frictionless as you go. So,
Yeah.
and we can
I
go through.
wanted, yeah, thank you for sharing. I
Yeah.
wanted to argue, but while you were talking, I'm like, yeah, actually, that's good because when you started talking
Yep.
that uh, the KCS part, where like the KCS way,
Yep.
where the system just flags the tickets, I don't know,
Mm,
questions
mm,
that need content, and it collects them. So it already helps the team, like takes a part of that huge weight on them, like what to write about. They already have the questions to answer. It's usually easier instead of
mm,
just reinventing, or like, oh, this is this new thing I need to write about. So it really makes it easier, and they already have the questions. That's amazing, and that it's done automatically. When you say automatically, it's just like amazing. Music to my ears. I really want to see that. Should
yeah.
we should we just jump to the
Yeah.
demo part that everybody are waiting? And
Yeah.
then maybe we will have time for Q&A. Just
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me pull up.
you can share the screen here, I think.
Perfect. Give me a second to do
Sure.
that. Okay. Share screen. Let's do it. Okay. Let's try this. Can you see my screen?
I can do this.
Oh, it looks a little strange, doesn't it?
It
Let me try
does.
not sharing that, and we'll go down. Okay, let's try again.
It's interesting that I need to accept it as a host here.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's try that. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, perfect.
Do we need our faces on the screen, or should we just make it full screen?
We can go full screen so people can see it all the way. Great.
I
Okay,
think
so
Mhm.
yeah, a couple things that I will show here. So let me first off okay, perfect. I'm ready to go. So this is we're logged into Pylon, and the usual KCS workflow here would be, hey, you get a question, maybe this is a common question, and you would go and mark it somehow as like, hey, we need a new article or something like that. So this is kind of like that manual process I was talking about before.
Mhm.
That I frankly, if you're not using an AI tool, an AI native support platform, then this is still like a decent way to create a list so that at the end of every week or whatever cadence you want to do it at, you can mark that you need content, and then you have a list that you can go through later.
I totally
Now,
agree. Actually, that's something that we've been using for years already in our projects. We just call it potential content. So,
yeah,
and we have that dedicated person that you mentioned. We just have knowledge manager, but it can be anyone. If, like you said, the company doesn't have resources for a specific like role, someone can still do it. And like
yep,
once a week, review those. Potential content resources and
yep,
decide what should be there. So it's really great to see that this, well, common sense kind of thing actually gets implemented in the softwares because it makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It
you said
definitely
that
it's
it's
important.
manual, but
Yeah. So this is the manual way, and this is
uh,
what we had actually built out initially. And
mhm,
I actually think it's still quite helpful because
it
sometimes you
is.
just want to guarantee that, hey, we write an article for this later. And so I think it is still quite helpful today.
Mhm,
And the other thing I'd point out is when people are actually looking for, we talked about, hey, people don't like automatically go search the knowledge base. There are a couple ways that we actually try to help with that, even before going into the KCS stuff. One is we have this section called resource suggestions. And so if there is a question, AI is automatically going to look for either existing tickets where people have asked this question and already answered it. So we could pull it up right here on the left. Or it could even suggest knowledge-based articles. So in this case, the demo org has a lot of the same data. So it's a lot of people asking the same questions, but we
okay.
could have articles pop up directly here. And then you
Mhm,
can actually go and look at them directly in the sidebar here. So it basically
okay.
makes it really easy to understand and jump to resources that you may want to access. So in terms of like the agent experience, this ends up being like a really nice way to have that right in your face. So you don't have to
Mhm,
even think to go look for it. It can just be suggested for you. So that's part one of the general question that we talked about. Now, part two of actually creating the content, this is where
mhm.
we'd actually go into our knowledge base section and go into what we call knowledge gaps. And this is going to
Uh-huh.
be a place where we're aggregating all of your most common
Nice.
questions and then
That
whether,
looks
yeah,
so interesting. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
yeah,
You already know that Katrina tested Pylon a couple of months ago, and she had like 300 tickets, but not enough. It was not enough to see how the gaps works.
mm,
We just had one article that system
mm,
suggested, so it's so amazing to see like it with much more data how it actually is
yeah.
supposed to work.
No,
Hmm.
it's quite fun. So there are all sorts of things you can do here. So
Hmm.
if you, for example, have at the end of every week on Friday, you're like, hey, I want to spend 30 minutes. Let's create content. Let's knock stuff out. And as Fernando mentioned in the comments, it really is your first line of defense. What you can do is go to this page and look at, okay, here are the most common questions that we're getting, right? So, and maybe I want to sort this by top mention. So a lot of people are having issues. Well, so these are some questions, but the AI thinks we already have some articles for them. So we can actually click in. Actually, here, let's see. We can click in and see every instance where actually someone's asked this question, and then also have kind of that up-to-date status. Oops, up-to-date status depending on where we're at here. So I can click in. Let's say this is a common question.
Hmm.
It's actually going to search your knowledge base and you'll see, hey, there are no resources found. And here are all the times someone's actually asked that question. Maybe we've answered it a couple times. In this case, once again, demo data. So it looks a little bland, but what we can do
Hmm.
now is say, okay, let's take all the times we've actually responded to these questions and turn them into a knowledge base article. So one more thing I'll call out here as I do this, and we'll come back to it later, is I'll say, hey, this is like an FAQ question. So I'm actually
Hmm.
generate article into an FAQ format. This is a
Uh-huh.
pre-created template that we have. And so it's going to take all the times that we've answered this question and turn it into a knowledge-based article for us. So we'll
Yeah.
see this pop up in a
I
moment.
was about to ask a couple of questions, but I think you answered the first one, like, because I see like related issues 199. And for example, if there is a status up to date, so do I need to look through all of them manually and see, do we actually? But you just answered the AI does it for you.
Yeah,
So
the
uh,
AI does it for you. That's the
it
nice thing.
just
So
reviews. That's amazing.
exactly. So it's not just what are the common questions, it's what are the common questions, and then do we have articles for them? And then we
Mhm.
also just added something, which is do we need to update existing articles as well? And so, yeah,
Hmm.
we'll kind of
Would
go
be nice
through.
to see how it will flag it. Like if we just need to,
Yeah,
not to create the article from scratch, but update it. But that's for the future. Sorry, I'm running ahead. Yeah,
no
let's
worries.
continue with
Yeah.
FAQ.
So this has been generated, and we now
Mhm.
have this article. We could publish it if we wanted. So let's click publish there, and then we'll actually see that article that was just created.
Uh-huh.
And now, if we actually want translation, so first off, here's the article we had. We can actually have different languages that you have it auto translate to, or have some review process for. So in this case, I'm going to manually click, hey, I want this auto translated to French. So we see our auto translation running, and then we'll have a process here for publishing. And so we could do that technically for all the different language options that we have. And so we'll see this here in a second.
Nice. We actually, while it's processing, we tested it on Ukrainian language, and
Yeah.
well, there is always issue with our "yi" letter.
Mm,
It's just so funny sometimes. The translation just cannot handle it.
yep.
Yep.
Nice.
Let's see.
Okay, so here we go. I don't speak French, but
Me
I'm
neither.
guessing that this is correct. It looks correct enough. And so all I have to do is click publish, choose which languages I actually want to publish it to, and boom,
Mhm.
that issue of needing a separate agency or company to help us with this is it's just far cheaper. And so yeah,
Of
boom,
course.
we went from okay, here's a knowledge gap to knowing that we actually need a knowledge article created for it, to creating that article
Mhm.
and auto translating it. And the one thing I'll mention here as well, going back to that FAQ template that I had selected, we can
Mhm.
actually click in here. And this is what the AI is using to understand how to structure the article. So, hey,
Uh-huh.
it should be titled, How Do I, Why Am I, or Can I? There should be a
Mhm.
context block where we describe, hey, AI, take what the customer is really trying to drill down into, then have an answer section of, hey, walk through the answer, use a numbered list, use screenshots. And so it'll actually go through all your previous answers to questions and then
Ah,
actually
so
write this article for you in this format.
so in template, you basically write a prompt. It's not like you, I don't know,
Yes,
when it's done
exactly.
manually, you just have to write, all the sections and you just copy paste basically. But it's with AI, so you can actually write all the details, how it should look like. The same with font style, colors, I don't know,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
good.
yeah, so this is yeah, we don't support any like font stuff right now, but well, you could in the custom formatting, but yeah, it's effectively a prompt that then the AI can use later, where you're just defining, hey, I want it in this format, and this also
Okay,
creates really good consistency for people who are looking into a knowledge base,
true.
and so you can basically describe, hey, it should follow this consistent format, or hey, maybe we want a setup guide to be a little different, so it should be called how to set up blah, and then it should be set up with a name and then numbered list and then usage, right? So you can basically create these templates. We have, in our case, some things that are pre-done for you, and then that flows into this entire flow. So, hey, every Friday, 30 minutes, spend some time going through the different topics, click in, generate articles into the specified format, and then boom,
Mhm.
like you are just ready to go. So this is way, way faster.
It
Now,
is, it is.
yeah.
It's so helpful, and maybe it would encourage subject matter experts to actually do that, because part of it is just they imagine how they have to do it in a certain manner with all the screenshots they have to make, and like it's just exhausting already. So it's really good that they just have a few clicks and review. My question would be, is there any approval process, or anyone can publish it?
So we do, I'd say on the approval process, right now, we basically would just leave things in draft mode. Um, and then, yeah, we don't have like a more thorough approval process just yet. But we are working on that. And so if you did want to go in and something's not done, you could, for example, comment and kind of Google Doc style, like tag people, or more likely, people will just have a list of articles that are unpublished, and then you'll go comb through them later. So you'll
Mhm,
create them, and then
mhm.
someone else can review.
I see. So it's more for the team that is already organized and embrace the KCS methodology, that
Well,
they
and
are.
the thing is, yeah, they don't even have to embrace KCS because KCS would require you to write, like, for example, mark articles that
Ah,
need to be created. And of course,
mm,
this is already pre-done for you, right? So
okay.
I'd say that in that way it's different. And then the other piece that's extremely different. So,
Mhm.
pumping articles out is one thing where, creates them from scratch, but actually most people are in a state where, hey, they have many articles already. And the
Mhm.
question is more on, are they up to date or not? And so we can see here, there's some tags of like missing
Okay.
resources. So there's no article or it's up to date. But then if I show you actually in another org, we can look and see that there's some that, hey, we actually need updates to other
Uh-huh.
articles. And
Okay.
so maybe I want to click in here and it's actually an existing article. And so,
Mhm.
hey, can I edit options for the standard issue fields? That's a knowledge base article we already have. I can actually click
Mhm.
needs update. And then this is actually going to generate suggested changes to an existing knowledge base article that we already have. And so this is just as important, if not more important, than our other feature, which is just writing articles from scratch. So now I have this suggested
Mhm.
article update flow where, hey, this question on can I edit these fields? We now have a suggestion to add this piece so I could accept or reject the changes here. And so
Uh-huh.
this is like equally important because as you have more people who join the team, leave the team, no one knows what's in the knowledge base. So the
Mhm.
maintenance aspect becomes incredibly important, and this helps out a lot with that.
That's really great that it actually shows you what exactly it suggests to add, and you can either accept or reject it.
Yep.
That's good, and you of course can type in like whatever you want instead of this. That's really nice. Still, the process behind it, I guess, is the hardest part. Just to
Mhm.
organize, I mean, the workflow, like
Mhm.
organize the teams to actually do it. But
Yep.
that's probably a question, the topic
The-
for another day.
Yeah. The good news is, I think
Mhm.
for most people, what you can actually do is just say, hey, like once a week, and it could be one person on the team who owns this a little more, just once a week,
Mhm.
um, put 30 minutes on the calendar and just go through your list of common topics and gaps and try to
Yeah.
fill a couple. It could be that simple as a start. So I
Yeah.
don't think you have to. The good news is you don't have to really make it that complex to start once
So
AI is doing a lot of the work
no
for you.
no change management at car and whatever else they have to
Yeah,
actually
a
do
minimal.
this.
There's only a little bit. Just put a calendar block on. You don't actually have to comb through a bunch of tickets and make lists and go do a lot of research to make
Yeah.
sure you know how to write the article content. It's actually just here are the gaps.
Hmm.
Here, click generate article. And one more thing I'll call out. Some people also have separate documentation as well. If I actually click into one of, let's say this one, we'll see that it found one piece of content in your existing knowledge base, and then separately, like for us, we have
Mhm.
a docs.usepylon.com. It will actually crawl across multiple sources for you. So we do have federated search across not just one piece of content, but other resources. So it could be
Oh,
your
you
change
mean
log.
that you can add other platforms that have knowledge,
Exactly,
and it
exactly.
will. I knew about
Yeah.
that. Katerina,
So
she guided me through this. I saw it,
yeah.
and it's really cool
So yeah,
because
if you
no matter
yeah.
how much you try to centralize the knowledge,
Yep.
still y- there are a few places it lives.
100%. Exactly. Yeah. And it could be a change log on your website, as something you want included. It could be documentation that the product team owns. It could be help center that support team owns. All of that, of course, you want federated search across all of them for all of these features.
Yeah. That's amazing. I see that we're running out of time, but maybe we can give people a couple of minutes for Q&A. What do you think?
Great. Let's do it. Oh,
I have a screen for that. Okay, yeah, there you go. So, um, our amazing viewers on LinkedIn and YouTube, you can drop some questions in the chat. We have a couple of minutes for it. So, and definitely are I don't know, excited to have. I like questions. Do you like questions, Marty?
of course. Yeah.
It's always so interesting when people challenge you with something because I don't know something that you wouldn't think of definitely. So
Right.
we have chat, and I can actually show it. But so far there were some conversations. There you go. Oh, but you, okay, so on the top, you see the last messages. We will give it a couple of minutes. If there are any questions, we will answer them. But if not, then we will wrap it up. And the recordings, they will be available after we finish this event, both on LinkedIn and YouTube. And of course, if you have some questions left, you can send them in comments on both platforms, and we will gladly answer them. And do you think we need to wait for another minute?
We could start with Max's question.
Oh, there
It
was.
looks like he had one, or
Okay.
well, I don't know if this is a question, but more a comment on handling the actual graphics within knowledge
Oh, true.
bases.
The screenshots. Yeah.
And so I do think that yeah, this is definitely a common challenge. One thing that we try to do or that we built in is when you do generate content, we will look at the existing responses that you've given to customers. And we will also try to find out whether the existing articles or the existing responses have screenshots that you can include. And that is something that, yeah, that's possible. Basically, the AI is actually good enough to know whether that screenshot should be included in the article draft. So that is like one way. It doesn't solve the problem of having like one image that you include in a resource center that gets spread out across many articles, but it's a really good step in that direction. And
Great.
the
Mhm.
multilingual context, that comment that he had as well, I do think that that is a very hard problem. We have not solved it yet, at least at Pylon, for like Looms or something.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a tough one
Yeah.
with translations, indeed. But would be so awesome if you were the first. Okay, there is one question we have. What trends you envision in AI-driven knowledge management?
I think that as increasingly people start to trust the AI more and more, so right now the way I showed the feature working is, hey, you can click a button and it'll use your existing responses to customers to actually generate an article. But we all know that our support team is not equal. There's some people that are better at answering questions than others, and I'd actually say one thing that will be really cool is you probably will have some sort of scoring system where you might be like, hey, I want this person on my team. I want to use their answers as like the framework or the data set that we use to generate content and know how to answer correctly. So I think like a next step in that direction would be taking your best team members and their responses and using that as the core data set. So I think that is a trend that I see happening and one that I think is
Hmm.
really exciting. And we're already starting to see that with like AI QA tools. We have built AI QA for ticket management, where you can write some prompts and be like, "Hey, did our team follow the right tone of voice? Did they answer the question correctly? Did they, do all these things?" And you can have AI do the analysis for you. And so then you can score, hey, how well have a rubric for how well each ticket was answered, and also how well each of your agents are doing. And then once you know that, then ideally you can use their work to produce better content in this more
Hmm.
automated fashion with AI.
True. Yeah, that's totally true. And well, not cruel, but I mean, the scoring systems they exist. They are needed for to train AI. So that's totally makes sense. And also, as a head of support with, oh my god, more than 10 years of experience, I've had different teams, different team members, and allowing them to answer like in their own style, using like, I don't know, their knowledge, and like they think so differently and they have
Mm,
different approaches. And of course you
mm.
see those who put in it like more thought and dedication. So yeah,
Yeah. So okay, so
it only makes sense
there
to use them.
Max has another question. What's your view on involving product teams earlier in the process? So insights for content input before a feature is released. I think this is also a really, really good question. Um, so first off, I think there's actually a more, in my opinion, exciting thing that's coming up when it comes to working with product teams cross-functionally is
Mhm.
not just on the content side, but actually just giving them the evidence of feature requests that are coming in or like bug reports. And so similarly here where there's a like tracking of, hey, here are all the common questions, knowledge gaps that you can turn into content. Similarly, there should be something around doing that for feature requests and bugs, which then you can pass on to the product team. And so
Mhm.
I think, so that is something that we are releasing soon. So actually next week, we put it online, so I guess it's public. But we are releasing something called Product Intelligence, which takes the same knowledge gap concept and actually allows you to show your customers or basically see a list of, hey, here are all of your most common questions that you've gotten. And so, for example, I can give like let me see if I'm even allowed to give a preview here. Okay, I can probably give a preview here, which hopefully no one gets mad at me for, but if I share my screen one more
Exclusive
time.
content. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
Yeah, this is definitely a sneak peek. So I just shared my screen if you show it.
Yeah. I just want to remove this Q&A overlay. Hold on a second.
And Max, sorry, I know this is not the direct answer to your question, so I'll get back to it in a moment, but I do think this is on the topic of sharing with product teams what feature requests or bugs are coming out. We're actually adding this new tab into our product called feature requests, where you can see all of the common questions that people are getting. So let's say I want to click into this one, and we'll be able to see a list of, hey, here are pieces of evidence. So similar to the knowledge gaps of all your most common questions that you're getting across different customers. And then you can actually link to linear Jira tickets natively. And so this is automatically going to group and capture all of these requests. And then you'll be able to link it to a linear ticket or a Jira ticket or whatever product tool that your team uses. And you'll be able to see, okay, here are my most common questions across customers. You'll be able to even have, we're adding an ARR field, of course, because we're plugged into Salesforce and HubSpot. So you're going to be able to see, okay, what are the common feature requests across customers of different segments. And so you'll be able to filter down on, let's say, Salesforce data or whatever like account level data you want. And so and then every new request that comes will just get auto linked to that Jira ticket or linear ticket for you. And so this is going to be extremely, extremely powerful.
This is so huge and so helpful. I mean, so many feature requests get lost on the way, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Me as a part of the support team, so grateful, so grateful.
Yeah, and I think that's the piece where there is that cross-team collaboration that is missing for a lot of teams. And I think support teams always want to be helpful to the rest of the company, right? And so it's ideal that hopefully like this provides a way that people can help in a way that doesn't take up more of the support team's time, which they don't have. So hopefully this is a way AI can work in the background to really help everyone work better together and produce, help push the company forward.
I believe it will. It is so good because really will help teams to work together and contribute to improving customers' experience and therefore bring value to the company, because happy customer is good always. We have a couple of more questions, but we're out of time. Really, I was naively hoping that it will take us 40 minutes, but now I see that we need to have this like hour booked for the call. I appreciate you, Marty, and joining our first episode, sharing your knowledge, expertise, and sharing how your product works. Pylon does an amazing job, and I personally like all the little updates, not always like small ones, but they are so constantly appearing and always like LinkedIn informs me about all of them, and I'm just like, wow, it just creates a sense of like your product, your company constantly developing, and it just creates this feeling of excitement, like, oh my God, what's new, I want to try it out.
Right.
So really great strategy there.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out. So if and if people don't know what Kate's talking about, this is the LinkedIn content that we do, where every day we're posting feature updates of what we released and big product launches as well. So there's a lot coming. There's a lot that we have now, and I think the whole support world is moving fast, and so we are moving as fast as we can with all the AI trends and new things that you can build. So yeah. I appreciate the time, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're gonna finish now. If you have more questions, send them in. I will do my best to give you answers, and also we'll share the LinkedIn profiles where all of the mentioned updates are coming from.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
You.